supervised.
Wow.
Just the fact that he brought it up.
I know exactly. That happened to me a few years before I retired. That
Yeah.
young lady, me and her both applied for the same supervisor position. I had more than enough credentials than she did, and plus I had my high school diploma. She had her GED. Even
Right.
though I'm not saying that that's better than the other, but usually that is a little bit more
Mhm.
than your GED. So
Right.
so when it came down to it, they gave the job to her, and I could not, and I couldn't believe it. But I knew why they gave it to her.
Of
And
course.
Yeah.
she tried to make my life a living hell because I had to tell her off one time before she became my supervisor. So I
Okay.
guess she wanted to pay me back when she became my supervisor.
And
So
see,
she
that
gave me
brings
the
up,
worst evaluation ever.
that brings up
Mm-hmm.
another point too. Me and a gentleman at work were talking about this, and this is really sad. See, first of all, in the workplace, you cannot, not only can you not be on their level, you have to be lower than them and suffering.
Hmm.
It's got to be
Unfortunately,
those two things. You got to be suffering. If you ain't
yeah,
suffering, something is wrong here. You know.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And and
Yeah.
and and the other thing, they hold grudges. Don't you dare drive a 7-year-old car to work.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
in
that happened
trouble.
to me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, my experience, I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about my experience of racism and how it really bothered me really a lot. Okay, so I was in school. I was working at a store. I was working at a retail store in the downtown area of Chicago,
Mhm.
and a Caucasian lady came into the place, and I walked up to her and asked her, "Can I assist her?" Well, she told me that my hands was dirty. I said, "No, I just washed my hands," because I didn't get it at first. I was young. I didn't really get it. I didn't understand.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
I told her, I said, "No, my hands are clean. I just washed my hands." So she said, "No, your hands are dirty." And so I didn't get it. And then one of the ladies that was with me, that was working with me, she tapped me and she said, "Laura, I'll take care of," because she knew what she meant. But I didn't know at the time. I didn't understand what she meant.
Oh,
And it
Wow.
bothered me so bad. I felt like I felt so little, like you could just squash me like a roach,
Hmm.
because I was like, man, I just can't believe how seriously how people are. And
Yeah.
that was one of my experiences though. Then another experience I never forget, I was like probably about, I want to say probably 17 years old. I was 17 years old, and my mom and I was on the bus heading to Little Rock, Arkansas. We was going to visit my uncle, and I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on, really, honestly, because I had never seen this up close and personal. But but one of the things that happened was we was on this bus, and all these people was coming. We had stopped at this one stop, and I can't think of where it was, but we stopped at the stop, and there were people with signs and fire, and it scared me so bad. I was so afraid because I had never seen this up close. You see it on TV, but you never see it in person.
right.
So the driver told us that we couldn't get off the bus. He got off the bus to get his gas, the bus filled and cleaned and stuff like that. But he was scared himself because he was African American as well.
Mhm.
And so the police was there, so they couldn't touch him because of the police was there. But they had fire, they had dogs, they had signs and everything. It scared me so bad. And I was asking my mom, I was like, "What's going on?" She said, "We're gonna be all right." But I could see the fear in my mom's eyes, that she
Mhm.
was just as scared as I was,
Mhm.
but she understood what was happening because she had experienced it. And it was like, wow, that was just something I would never forget as a
Hmm.
17-year-old girl.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see it on a regular basis, And
Hmm.
I had a situation where we had, and this has actually been coming up quite a bit lately, in the real estate world, where with these appraisals, and we had a situation where we was getting ready to sell our home, and we had an appraisal done. well, the appraisal came back low. I couldn't understand how come the appraisal kept coming back low when this was a brand new house. It was only 8 years old, and it only myself and my husband lived in it. So it's like, how much damage could we have done to the house? So when we had our appraisal done, it was one amount. When the people who were buying it had theirs done, it was a whole different amount.
Wow.
Higher than what our appraisal was. And when I asked them, I said, how come their appraisal was higher than ours and we just had this appraisal done? Oh, that's because it's the bank, the different lender is someone else is doing it. And I said, I think that's discriminatory. Oh, Margaret, no, that's not what it is. I said, yes, it is. I said, yes, it is.
Yes, it
because
is.
they don't look like me that's getting this appraisal done. And that's why y'all, how come their appraisal came up higher than what we had before we put it on the market. Mm. And I said, it's not fair that we have to fight every day in everything we do. And our ancestors built this country.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know what? It's something that we're gonna deal with for the rest of our lives.
Unfortunately,
and it's sad, but it's true. It's true. Anybody else have something that they want to, like a question, something they want to talk about before I get mine in?
Well, first of all, can you even hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know why is my screen frozen to you?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. You want me to get back out and try to get back in, or just keep flowing?
As long as we could hear you, I guess that's fine.
That's cool. That's cool. No, that's Margaret, that was a great, I'm glad you brought, I just wanted to kind of comment on that. Was a great point you brought up because, this has been going on for years, redlining and the whole nine, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so these neighborhoods are being turned into, neighborhoods for them, and we not only built the neighborhood, that's just like Lakeshore Drive. A lady used to tell me how she said, Lakeshore Drive used to not always look like that. When I was a kid, it was, we were allowed to, she said, then they kind of just changed it and flipped it over and then it became their Lakeshore Drive, so yeah, it's all kind of stories out there on that.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean.
Kaz Easton Show said they experienced racism in Washington, D.C. Our bus was surrounded and all the officers had AR-15s. Very scary moment. I immediately went into prayer.
Amen. Amen. I know you did. And it's so sad that we have to experience that. Yeah. And I'm sure others have experienced the same thing with that. And with it being this being the week of Martin Luther King's birthday, it brings back so many memories to me as a child, thinking about, okay, so I was born in the 60s, but I was quite young. But I remember in the 70s, I remember some things that happened in the 70s. And I remember when my sisters, my older two sisters were working at this school for the summer. And I remember we went to this school, and I remember at a certain time they would ring this bell. And when they ring the bell, they would start singing. We all had to start singing, "We Shall Overcome." And I didn't understand a lot of stuff. I didn't understand because I was quite young, but I'm singing the song and I'm like getting all into the song and stuff, but I didn't really realize until I got older what that all meant,
What a moment, though. I mean, all of the Black people had to sing it?
Yeah, we were all in this school. It was a Black school, and we were all in this school, and they would ring this bell at a certain time, and then all of a sudden, everybody had to be still, and they get into this, and they start praying. They pray first, and then all of a sudden, we start singing, "We shall overcome. We shall overcome." And it was amazing. The craziest part of how I remember the assassination of Martin Luther King is I remember it because it's my dad's birthday.
Oh,
he died on my dad's birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the same age as my dad. They were the exact same age. So that's kind of how I remember it. I mean, I wasn't born, but that's what I remember about that.
Wow, Laura, that was a moment though. Just to hear you talk about it, even to hear you talk about it seems like it was just a beautiful moment,
It
really.
was. It was the first time. You know, it's so sad.